Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope you all enjoyed your weekend. Thank you so much for joining me. I took a little bit of a break over the weekend and the news was coming in thick and fast. Oh my goodness, there's so many updates today. I think there's the most slides I've had in a while. How many do you know? Oh god, 25 today. 25 slides to get through. A lot of news. And I don't even think I've gotten everything, to be honest. I might even do a second podcast today because there's quite a few things I need to get through. But many good things. That's always great to have, not just always with the drama. Also, Harry is due back in the UK, for the Well Child, so definitely have updates on that as well. But let's catch up with a couple of things that I've missed: the good, the bad, the absolute ridiculous. Who's in the chat with us so far? I believe it's like going to 8 in New York side, but still about 5 a.m. Los Angeles side. So thank you so much if you are joining me. Hey, Church Nelly, as always. I hope you're feeling better, Church Nelly. Always praying for you. Thank you for being such an amazing part of this community. Thank you to all the mod squad. Hey, Elaine. Hey, Black Queen. Shout out to the mod squad, Karen. Okay, so a couple of book updates before we get into it. So I received both the proof for the paperback copy and the hard copy. I actually think that I will be able to get the hard back out for maybe another month, but the hardback is coming on the 4th. So anybody that wanted the hardback, and honestly, I think the hardback is better than the paperback, like especially because there's journal pages in this as well. There's like journal prompts that I included. So that will be coming. That's Friday. So only a couple more days to go. Thank you everybody who has ordered the ebook so far. If you have ordered it, please do leave a review. If you're able to leave a review, I would really appreciate that, because it definitely helps with the algorithm on Amazon. But thank you to everybody who's purchased the ebook so far. But here it is, paperback and hardback. And also just a preview of the inside, in case you were wondering. I dedicated the book to all women. I said to all women discovering their strength, wisdom, worth, may this book be a reminder that you are powerful, worthy, and unstoppable. So just to give you an idea of what's actually inside of this book. Right, let's get on to other news. Eric Adams, New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Now, I don't know a whole lot about this guy, but I know that he is not the most liked of New York mayors. And I also know, or how I came to know about Eric Adams, was when he totally misspoke during the almost catastrophic car chase that Harry and Meghan were involved in some time back, and gave ammo to the British tabloids who downplayed the severity of what happened that evening. And I still think we are yet to see what else is going to come out of that night, because there was suggestion earlier on in the year that some people may be arrested because of it, and certainly there would have been street footage of Harry and Meghan going in and out of the police offices that evening, and also Harry and Meghan's own footage, because we know that they have internal and external dash cams in their cars, something that we learned during the Netflix documentary, and that they also keep their own footage as well. Harry had his phone recording the whole thing. So he has now been indicted for, well, we actually don't know exactly what it is because it's been sealed. Some people are suggesting that this could be linked into everything that's going on with Diddy the Diddler, and also other corruption, other things involving perhaps the Turkish government, that he took gifts. So there's a number of different things that he could have been indicted for, and I'm sure he has other shady secrets also. But karma seems to be coming round to everybody who has misspoken in any way about Harry and Meghan. Granted, in the days following, I think he did try to clear up his mess. But still, as a mayor, as somebody in authority, I think he should have just waited and not opened his mouth as quickly as he did. Also, Rupert Murdoch, who is the owner of several shady misinformation tabloid ragmags, some of which Harry and many others are suing. They went to him and his family went to court because there is disagreement over who gets to have majority control when Murdoch finally kicks the bucket. So this in CNN, Murdoch and his eldest children descended the Reno courthouse to appear for evidentiary hearings in a secret trial to determine whether the 93-year-old, what is this guy drinking? Is he drinking like unicorn elixir, the same stuff that Voldemort was drinking? 93-year-old can alter the family trust that he established decades ago, giving his 4 eldest children equal votes over the future of his conservative media empire after he dies. Murdoch wants to amend the trust so that his eldest son and chosen successor, Lachlan, can remain in charge for decades to come. But the 3 other Murdoch children, James, Elizabeth, and Prudence, oppose the change and have challenged it in court. Now, I believe James sits on a board that Harry also sits on, looking at press integrity and misinformation. So that's quite interesting. And they have met and spoken in the past. According to the New York Times and Wall Street Journal, Murdoch fears his other 3 children could possibly moderate the highly profitable and famously right-wing slants promoted by some of his outlets like Fox News, which he believes would diminish the company's value. So the only place that Murdoch sees value is in the type of misinformation, because that's what it is. It's not news. Misinformation that causes division and divisiveness in society. And that's what he wants to keep going, and what he sees as profitable. Well, certainly it is. But is it right? Absolutely not. So I don't know the full politics of the other 3 children that are opposing this, but clearly they want some kind of balance, at least. Murdoch also has other lawsuits still pending, not just the ones by Harry and other high-profile figures that could potentially actually just bankrupt the whole Murdoch empire. And you know what? It's about time. When he goes, it should go. Sooner the better. And I think actually the other 3 children probably see in the long term, it is better to have at least a more moderate voice than what you currently have now, especially with Fox News. I think they are seeing some sense. Anyway, sticking to misinformation, particularly in the Murdoch circles, The Sun. Now, The Sun used this photo of Meghan in one of their stories, The Best Boss Ever, or Was Meghan a Demon Who Had Psycho Moments? Reminder that nobody ever had a bad word to say about this woman before she entered the royal fold. 7 years in Hollywood. Not one person has anything bad to say about you. It's because there's nothing bad to say. Now, you can see the original photos versus what was actually used. Now, I'm sorry that I actually don't have. So the actual photo, I've just realized it's actually not on the not on the screen. But Meghan has, I would say she has a very subdued look, but her lips are not like that in the actual photo, in the original photo. They have photoshopped this to make her lips look more frowned downwards. And The Sun, so the Photoshop photo was spread by derangers online, and The Sun have now used that photo in a real life article. The Sun, by the way, whose editor, Victoria Newton, claims to have a direct link to Kensington Palace. Why is this allowed? Using fake photos? Just when we had a whole Frankenstein photo controversy with that Mother's Day photo, now The Sun is actually printing this. I mean, this photo has been doing the rounds for some time on the internet, but to actually see it in print by a tabloid, how is this not illegal? And then the narrative that they're trying to spin with this fake photo, fake news with a fake photo, because the reality could not be further from what they are trying to push, this whole idea of Meghan being a monster boss. After several staffers came out and argued against an article by the Hollywood Reporter. Mind you, I still have not read that article. When it came out, I didn't read it. But it seems to have grown legs sometime after, because I think it came out in the middle of the month. And then it's in the last week, it seemed to have grown legs. And so Meghan's people did decided to push back in US Weekly. That's where all of this stems from. I don't know when we're going to ever get a handle on these tabloids, because a lot of it actually rests on the buying public reading this. You know? And until people start to get a clue, this will continue. This could act, no matter what the tabloid press want to put out, this could actually all stop the moment people decide to stop reading it. Then it has no power. You can talk about press regulation all you want, but it stops when people stop buying it. But they want to buy it, because many of the people reading these rag mags are the most miserable bunch of, I won't say the words, you've ever met. I'm actually going to play it in the next podcast, but last night, sorry, I didn't manage to get the sound uploaded on time. Last night, there was a show called Gogglebox on in the UK. This is a show where celebrities and ordinary people sit down and they review TV shows, right? So they're all sitting in front of their tellies. And for some reason, even though it came out ages ago, Gogglebox last night decided to show the clip of Harry and James Corden. And the commentary from the people watching, again, many of these ordinary everyday celebrities, ordinary everyday citizens, a couple of celebrities sprinkled in between, but mostly everyday citizens. The commentary from them, it was just so vile. The level of vitriol and the way in which people are triggered by this couple needs to be studied. When it came to the part where Harry was talking about, Meghan making organic waffles, that there were two women who were part of the participants, and one of them was like, "Oh, will you F off?" and like rolling her eyes. I'm like, how are you triggered by waffles? I don't know. I mean, I guess if your go-to was beans on toast, that might trigger you. But it just goes to show how some people have, or a lot of people in this country, I think, have been brainwashed into accepting the bare minimum, that seeing what more could look like is literally triggering. And more so when you've been brainwashed into believing that more is not something that you can have access to. But I don't know. I don't know if there's anything Meghan's people can do specifically about this, because this is a false image. Like, surely there has to be some kind of legal recourse for this. I don't know. Anyway, oh, and then also there's this one. This one hasn't been used in any UK print that I've seen. I think I've seen a couple of troll channels using this. But I had someone message me say that some foreign press had actually used this photoshopped image of Harry. You can see his mouth is clearly photoshopped. And someone posted this in response to the article from the Hollywood Reporter. It is journalistic malpractice to use anonymous sources for character assassination. British tabloids and nasty hags like the royal reporter. I think royal reporter. Who is that? Is that Richard Palmer? Have been doing it forever and paying people to lie because they aren't journalists but propagandists. But I am shocked by the Daily Beast. I'm not shocked by any of these outlets whatsoever. They know that any type of vitriol about Harry and Meghan is going to generate clicks and views. So ethics and journalism guidelines say, in general, journalists should avoid using anonymous sources to make accusations or derogatory comments, a practice sometimes called an unattributed negative. Why? Simply because it can look dubious and has a hint of unfairness. Negative comments from an anonymous source might lead readers to believe that someone with ill will is hiding behind their anonymity to evade the consequences of their statements. And, in that Hollywood Reporter article, no, they couldn't name anyone. It was all insiders, former employees that they did not have any solid evidence of Meghan bullying anyone. And yet all of her staff came out, names were given, details of day-to-day work were given in the US Weekly article. Even Kate Manzi, shady-ass Kate Manzi, who was being sued by Harry, even she came out and put doubt on that Hollywood Reporter article. Ethics journalism goes on to say, and the target of the negative statement has no idea who is making the comment and why. There can be an exemption for sources who claim to be victims of assault or harassment. These types of sources may only feel safe. Accusing someone under the protection of anonymity and reporting those accusations require careful work to seek to corroborate the source claims before publication. But you can see a very big difference between these so-called bullying claims about Meghan and, say, like an article that like Ronan Farrow did about Me Too. You can see the fakery with the Hollywood Reporter article. Anywho, all right, I'll go to your comments and then we'll move on from this. But it's very worrying because a lot of people don't know how to decipher between what's real and what's fake. But then I think Rahini made this point some time ago. You shouldn't have to, because everything should be real and truthful and factual. Wendy, you said AI and Photoshop editing is so damaging to people's lives. It's only going to get worse. Well, if, outlets like The Sun that influence millions of people's minds aren't being responsible, it is going to get worse. It's going to get worse if people have no integrity, especially the outlets that are meant to be giving people news. And it's a good thing that Getty and AP and all those outlets decided to put a stop to that Frankenstein Mother's Day photo. And hopefully we see that type of action continue. Elaine, you watched that? Yeah, I was just shocked to see it. First of all, because that James Corden piece came out a while ago. But getting triggered over organic waffles? Beans on toast is a choice. You can make organic waffles if you want, dear. Okay, next thing I wanted to mention. This, every single day I wake up and expect to see foolishness on these royal streets, but this is just something else. So Boris Johnson has a memoir coming out. I don't suppose he'll be telling us about those love children, about his affairs, or anything like that. And what he is doing, though, is using Harry's name to sell his book. So Bojo, the clown, revealed that he was asked by the palace and by the government to talk to Harry. Harry and Bojo the clown could not be more opposite as men. Could not be more opposite. One, a bumbling, adulterous clown. The other, a loyal man with integrity and morals. And they thought that they were going to get Bojo the clown to get Harry to stay. It didn't work, because I believe it was only a day or two after Harry left for Canada. The same Bojo the clown, by the way, who whose sister said that Meghan was going to be adding exotic DNA. Those are the words that she used, exotic DNA, to the royal family. That's Bojo the Clown's sister. And they thought that they were going to get this guy to talk to Harry to stay in the UK and leave his wife and children. Well, wife and child, because only Archie was born at the time. I mean, this is just hilarious. What did they think Boris was going to say to Harry? And also, what is it they think that Harry has actually to stay for? He has a full free life in California. He can go bike riding in the sun every day. That alone, can you really think about it? Just going for a bike ride in the sun in peace is actually a privilege to somebody as privileged as Harry. And you want that man to come back without his family, because they never talk about Meghan and the kids. You want that man who has that freedom to come back. Come back to what? Thank you so much, Elaine Parker, for the super sticker. Yes, Donna, Harry is out of the cult. He would literally be walking around that palace, constantly looking over his shoulder, making sure the rats have tasted the tea before he drinks it. At this point, his family can't be trusted. I'm sure Harry, and he said before, you know, he doesn't want this back and forth to keep going. He wants an apology for his wife. I'm sure Harry would want some kind of reconciliation for his family to see some kind of sense that they are on a sinking ship, on a collision course for an iceberg. But nobody in that palace can be trusted now. So why would Harry go back? Apparently this happened at, you can see the picture at the African Investment Summit, and it was a 20-minute conversation. Madness upon madness, if you ask me. In other news, Kate, who has bad days and good days still, following her recovery, apparently knows that one of her good days is most definitely going to be the Christmas Carol concert. She is 100% sure of that. She has been taking meetings behind the scenes to discuss the annual Christmas Carol service. And she is 100% sure that one of her good days will be at the Christmas Carol concert at Westminster Abbey this year. Well ahead of time. It is a miracle. It is so obvious that whatever negotiations happen behind the scenes, one of the places where Kate clearly won was that she's never going to come back as a full-time working with a small W working royal. And she was pretty lazy before. But now we are going to see her really just for main events. And I believe that's what she would have wanted all along anyway. For those of you that don't know, Kate's first official royal engagement was cracking open a bottle of champagne and pouring it over a boat. I am Sage from Twitter saying, so now Richard Palmer is saying that they won't know until 2025 what royal duties are going to look like for William and Kate. When are people going to open their eyes? You've all been scammed. This is what they were working towards all along. Exactly. And this is despite the fact that they are now getting more money. And you know what? They can actually be part-time and play in the public's faces. You know why? Because what are the public going to do? If Kate and William only came out a couple of times a year, what are the public going to do? It's not like people were running down the mall to Buckingham Palace with placards and, you know, what do you call those things? Like the wooden sticks with fire on them? Torches. It's not like people were running down the mall with torches, when Andrew was standing there at the Queen's funeral, or when Andrew was leading the family for what was that thing they went to? Memorial service. It's not like anybody gets angry about anything. So why wouldn't Kate and William just show up when they want to? Just show up to Wimbledon, show up to football games, show up to a Christmas Carol concert. Why wouldn't they do that? They know they can get away with it. Kate was apparently also seen at the National Ballet. I mean, how lovely, getting to go to the ballet during a cost of living crisis. Henry VIII saying, "Sorry, but I have something else to say. I grow increasingly suspicious of these appearances, both solo and with her family, where there is not a single image. Kate supposedly attends crowded performances and fairs, and there is nothing. Meetings on the court circular where no one else comments, yet in photos of her going to church, she appears normal. Why? Why the secrecy around everything else?" That is a good question. I think I actually had an article about this. Yes, let's read from Celebrity. Kaiser saying, even before the Princess of Wales went missing for 6 months this year, she always had keen incognito seasons, would seemingly disappear without a trace for weeks, sometimes months at a time. Traditionally, the keen incognito season features a few private meetings with some reported emails or phone calls and the odd tweet. This is another thing. It's not like this disappearing is new, or it's started happening when she supposedly got ill. It's been a pattern of events that people just haven't noticed, because when she does come out, she gets blanket coverage. So it appears like they're always there and always working. Thank you, Black Twin. Tiki Torches. The name wasn't coming to me. Another feature is that we get sightings provided by royal reporters who were briefed by the palace that Kate was absolutely out of Norfolk or Bucklebury or wherever. I think what's happening now, especially since we've established that Kate is well enough to watch tennis for hours and well enough to travel to Balmoral for kids-free weekend getaway, we won't ever see Kate, but we'll hear about what she's up to, a private meeting in Windsor, and we'll get a tweet. Speaking of, and that's when we've seen this tweet about Kate at the ballet. What's a little funny about this, the English ballet is not even Kate's patronage. It used to be Diana's patronage, then it reverted back to the crown, and I think the Queen, not Camilla, the late Queen, was technically patron for years. Then in June of this year, Queen Camilla became patron. Camilla just did her first ballet event earlier this month. Kate is stealing Camilla's ballet thunder. Anyway, I'm glad Kate enjoyed a day out to watch some ballet. I find it interesting that she publicized it and put it in a tweet. Curious timing, eh? The whole thing is odd. Honestly, I really do wonder if there's ever going to be any energy towards the idea of, if Kate can watch tennis or ballet or put together a commercial for her marriage, can she do Zooms with some charities? Please, I don't have the patience to look through months of Kensington Royal tweets, but purely going from memory, is this Kate's first tweet since William tossed her under the bus for that manipulated Mother's Day photo? Yes. And also that tweet about her going to the Royal Ballet, that was marked with C. So that's meant to be her tweet. So we haven't seen a single Zoom call or appearance with, any women's charity, cancer awareness charity, but we're seeing tweets about Kate going to the ballet. And what does this have? How is this linked to any type of public service or public work? Who goes to a ballet and tries to pass that off as some kind of service? You can go to the ballet anytime, in your own private time, actually, and don't tweet about it and rub it in our faces that you're having such a good time. When we know that there are people on waiting lists who cannot get treatment. But here you are, looking like a Head and Shoulders Herbal Essences model in an ad and having nice evenings to the ballet. what are the palace PR people even doing? They are clearly not advising these people at all. And if they are, they're not listening. Thank you so much, Black Queen, for the coffee. Much appreciated. I think we have a troll. Okay, back to Harry. Let's go back to some good news. So one of the people that Harry met during the trip to New York was Jose Andres, who obviously runs World Central Kitchen, and Harry and Meghan and Archwell have been associated with Jose Andres and World Central Kitchen for some time now. They do amazing work, particularly on front lines. I believe they funded one of the World Central Kitchens in is it Puerto Rico? Somebody please jig my memory. And also, offering support in other zones of disaster and war. And the press tried to paint this narrative that it was some type of awkward run-in, or he was trying to avoid a run-in with Jose Andres, because Jose Andres now is linked to William. I mean, at the end of the day, these people are professionals doing humanitarian work for people in need. I don't really think there's anything particularly personal about the fact that Jose Andres is working with both Harry and William. Now, on William's part, do I think it's petty because William just wants everything Harry has? Yes, because he could have picked anybody else. But do I think there's anything, personal between Harry and Jose Andres? No, and that's just ridiculous. And the idea that he would be trying to avoid him at this event, also very ridiculous. Shown clearly by these pictures where they're very happy and smiley. There's also another picture actually of Harry, Jose Andres, and Hillary Clinton, and some other dignitaries that were there at this event. Also following that, not just all work, play also, Harry made an appearance on Jimmy Fallon, which was hilarious. I can't play it here for copyright reasons. Don't want the copyright popo coming after me. But you can go on Jimmy Fallon's, social media, YouTube page. It was truly hilarious. Harry is really in his element when he's doing, these things. He also did, the skit with James Corden. He clearly enjoys and is good at doing this type of stuff. So yeah, I never in my mind was like, oh, maybe Harry could do presenting or, do these type of things. But he's shown over and over again that he's actually really, really good at them. So this is from People. Prince Harry's whirlwind trip to New York wasn't all work and no play. On Thursday, the Duke appeared as a surprise guest on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, but didn't take part in a typical interview with the late night talk show host. Instead, the two ventured through a haunted maze at the Rockefeller Center, created by Fallon, called Jimmy Fallon's Tonightmares, which Fallon announced August 15th. Brace yourself for 10 spine-chilling rooms that bring Jimmy's worst nightmares to life. And it was so funny, as they were going through the maze, at one point they told the actors that this is Prince Harry, and one of the women just freaked out. She was like so excited and happy, and she couldn't believe it. Also, one of the biggest one of the most frightening parts of this maze was the head of Angela Latrine popping out of nowhere and absolutely frightening Harry. I'm kidding. She was not there. She was there in spirit, not in person. Absolutely frightening. I mean, to be honest, Harry has seen worse in the Royal Rota than whatever was in that haunted maze. But great to see Harry just having a good time, being embraced by people in the industry. They were saying stuff like, Harry's been, Hollywood has turned their back on Harry and Meghan. I mean, he's literally been on almost both Harry and Meghan have been on almost every major talk show so far. Fallon, Ellen, Meghan was on Ellen. Harry was also on Stephen Colbert. So, Hollywood turning their back on Harry and Meghan where? Yes, Heather, Harry is a real person. It just translates, right? Yes, certainly. Trollicia's face would scare anyone. Absolutely terrifying. I mean, I'd be shocked and horrified too. Okay, also, after he's done with Well Child, Harry will indeed be going back to Southern Africa. Very, very busy for Harry. Prince Harry sent a Bale organization leading an initiative to support young people in Southern Africa. So in early October, Harry's charity organization, Bale, which he co-founded with Prince Siso of Lesotho in 2006, will bring together leaders from Google's charitable arm and several other companies and organizations for a series of meetings and discussions in Lesotho and Johannesburg. Now, actually, at the Clinton Initiative meeting, I saw a picture of Harry with one of the CEOs of Google, and they were looking very chummy and happy. So, getting big corporates like this to get involved in charitable work, that's big donations, big money donations. So the gathering will be Harry's first time visiting Southern Africa since 2019. He's been long devoted to philanthropy work in the region in honor of his late mother. Amazing. Harry said in a news release that the organization has developed a profound understanding of local youth, their passions, their concerns, and their extraordinary creativity through their extensive work in the area and their long-standing relationship with local communities. So keeping busy, keeping booked, and actually trying to do things that create impact. Okay. One last thing. There is a blogger who has popped up quite recently, who is going viral on the royal streets. This JP Ko Nabo, who writes about Harry and Meghan and the royals. I'm going to try and find the link to this post, but just all of their posts are very insightful, very well written. It gives me like the feel of Meghanpedia, who unfortunately stopped updating regularly. But I really appreciate, having somebody who writes like this. I've tried in the past to start a blog. I don't know if you lot remember, who've been here for a while, but it's a lot of energy just doing a daily podcast like this, to then add doing a blog. So I'm so glad that there are people actually doing like written stuff as well, because we need a mixture of everything. We need the YouTube, we need the TikTok, we need the Instagram, we need the Twitter streets, and we also need like very well written articles as well. So this is just a snippet from this article, and I've posted the link if you want to read the whole thing. And they said it's a grotesque game of survival for the monarchy, and Meghan is meant to be the sacrificial lamb in an institution where image is everything. Harry's rebellion cannot be forgiven. His decision to walk away, to tell his own story, to express his humanity, threatens the very foundation of the royal illusion. So what do? They strike at his weakest point, his love for his wife. They've realized Harry is unshakable, so they've turned their guns on Meghan, hoping that enough venom spewed her way will eventually silence them. It's a cowardly, disgusting tactic. The public should be outraged. The idea that the royal family would stoop so low as to exploit the media to smear someone merely because they feel threatened is revolting. They claim to represent unity, tradition, and moral integrity, yet the way that they hang Meghan out to dry is beneath contempt. We're not talking about criticism here. No, what Meghan faces is an onslaught of character assassination so vile it would break most people. And for what? For standing by her husband, for existing in the royal orbit, for daring to support Harry's decision to break free from the suffocating grip of royal life. Absolutely fantastic writing. I have posted the link, and please do go and read their other articles. And please do support other processors platforms that have a more balanced view and can actually write well. That's another thing I feel about our platforms, whether it's this one, Meghanpedia, back when the Sausage Squad podcast used to have their blog. I wrote for that blog, but Tina and Michelle also wrote for that blog. Actually well written stuff, not just tabloid ragmag nonsense. Okay, we're going almost an hour now. There were some other things that I wanted to mention, but I would rather just do another podcast and add whatever updates we get from Well Child. So I'm going to end the podcast there. Thank you so much, everyone, for showing up. As you always do. We had a few trolls today. Like, wow. I haven't actually had that in a while. Hello, trolls. Welcome. Okay, let me end with your comments and then we'll wrap it up. Carter, you said read the entire article. Very well written and truthful. Yes, all of the articles on this little blog seem to be very well written as well. So go and give them some support. Gwendolyn, you said the energy is only on the Sussexes to prey on their business, which is nothing to do with the haters and the tabloids and the palace. They can't find no meat but looking for bones. They're scavengers indeed. Natasha, you said, good morning. This made me chuckle because when I saw this clip, I thought to myself, this must be a walk in the park for Harry because he's walked and lived through demons all his life. Exactly. It was a really, really good skit. Wendy, why does Harry need permission to go on talk shows? Is this in response to that article from the Express that went viral saying, should Harry ask for permission from Charles to go on talk shows? And the answer to that is absolutely no. Harry is a grown man now making his own money, not funded by the British taxpayer. He does not need permission to do nothing nada from the palace. Audrey, you said, yes, they are very well written. I've been posting it everywhere. Keep posting. Okay. I am going to end things there. Thank you so much, folks. I will either see you again today, later, or tomorrow for Well Child update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Ciao.